If you've been scrolling through endless projector screen options and still feel stuck, this review is going to clear that up. I've spent the past week setting up a dedicated home theater room and testing a few different screens, and I can tell you why the Akia 120-inch motorized model might finally make sense. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the biggest reason people hesitate is the fear of buying something that looks great on paper but ends up looking like a cheap backdrop once it's pulled down. With a 120-inch diagonal, you're committing a sizable portion of your wall, and the screen has to stay flat, stay bright, and stay quiet. The Akia screen tackles those worries with a tab tension system that pulls the fabric tight across the entire surface, and a motor that rolls it up with barely a whisper. In practice, that means you can dim the lights, lower the screen, and start a movie without startling anyone in the next room. I set this up in a modest 12 by 10 foot media space, using a short-throw 4K projector that sits just a foot away from the wall. Because the screen is rated for UST, ultra short throw, as well as standard throw, the projector's lens didn't need any major adjustments. The Cine white material gave me a neutral gray that boosted contrast for darker scenes while still reflecting enough light for bright daytime viewing. When I played a high-motion sports clip, the surface stayed uniformly flat, no ripples or bowing in the middle that can ruin the illusion of a true cinema screen. Who should consider this screen? If you already own a projector capable of 1080p or 4K and you want a dedicated, permanent setup that looks sleek when not in use, the motorized design is a strong fit. Home theater enthusiasts who enjoy movie nights with friends will appreciate the automatic lowering and raising. It removes the hassle of manually pulling a sheet and helps protect the fabric from dust and accidental tears. It also works well for multipurpose rooms where you might want the wall back for presentations or gaming. Just push the screen up and you've got a clean surface again. On the flip side, this isn't the best choice for casual viewers who only watch a few movies a month and aren't ready to invest in a motorized unit. The price point sits higher than a basic manual pull-down screen, and the added convenience of motorization only pays off if you actually use it regularly. Likewise, if you have a very tight ceiling clearance, the motor housing might need a few extra inches of space. The unit isn't designed to sit flush against a low soffit. In my test room, the ceiling was 9 feet high, and the motor's lower limit was comfortably clear, but a ceiling under 8 feet could be a deal-breaker. Assembly is surprisingly straightforward. The package includes pre-drilled mounting brackets and a clear instruction sheet that walks you through attaching the brackets, threading the motor cable, and syncing the remote. I was able to get the screen fully operational in about 45 minutes with just a drill and a screwdriver. The biggest hidden trade-off is the wiring. The motor runs on a standard 120V outlet, so you need a nearby power source or a discreetly routed extension cord. If you're planning a clean wall mount look, you'll have to conceal that cable, which adds a small extra step compared to a purely manual screen. Performance-wise, the motor is as quiet as it gets, less than a whisper of a whir, which is ideal for late-night binges. The remote offers basic up/down commands, but you can also link it to most universal remote systems if you want to integrate it into a larger home automation scene. The screen's tension system stays tight even after several months of frequent use. I pulled it down and up 10 times a day for a week, and there was no slack developing. That durability is where you get real value beyond the headline 120-inch size. One practical weakness I noticed is the lack of a built-in cable management channel. The motor's power cord runs down the side, and while it's not an eyesore, it does create a small gap that could collect dust over time. If you're a perfectionist about aesthetics, you'll need to plan a trim piece or use a cable cover. Another point to consider is the screen's weight. At roughly 30 pounds, it's not something you'd want to reinstall on a different wall without a second set of hands. It's built to stay where you mount it, so think through the final location before you bolt the brackets. Overall, the Akia 120-inch motorized tab tension screen delivers what it promises: a flat,